Shad again, face to face with these burning ghosts. They lashed out and somehow burned memories from Gilda's mind, and the rest, well, it's a blur for me, as they put me down like a ragged wharf rat. Physic helps me recover quickly, and I do my best to scare the ghosts off. Tulok backs me up, and the flaming duo are quelled. For now. Gilda experiences some heavy confusion, but the memories burned away slowly return. We turn back to the door we failed to unlock, and Lady Gilda opts for knocking it off its hinges instead of the quiet route. We find a small library unto itself, a sculpture of old Absalom, and a wooden statue of Belcora herself. The statue springs to life, and this wood golem quickly proves beyond our current skill set. Even with the aid of the Festrog, we are ineffective, and Lady Gilda defends us as we barely make for a tactical retreat.
What's up, dogs, aka listeners? How the hell are you? Welcome back to the show. I'm Scott, and I'm doing the intro today. So I was thinking, this is a hobby. I'm sure these people have other hobbies, and I'd like to hear about them. Let's start off with James, because I already know what James does, and I'm super into it. And we'll go down
nerds.
Yeah, you prompted us earlier, and I tried to think about it, because I like to think of myself as the kind of guy who has lots of hobbies, and I guess I kind of do. I like tinkering with electronics. I like rebuilding old stuff. I like taking old computers or Game Boys and making them new again. But the answer that Scotty Boy there is fishing for is I am a mediocre miniature painter.
Yeah, just like me.
Yeah, so I paint some Warhammer stuff. I paint some D&D stuff. It's been a lot of Warhammer lately. I'm working on a Chaos Army right now for 40k. I have a Chaos Army for fantasy because I need to play the antithesis of myself in every direction at all times.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I have a Necron army that I'm almost finished, or a combat patrol is more accurate. Because they're robots and they're Egyptian themed and they're from space, and that's the trifecta to me.
Nice.
Yeah, I play retro video games, and I work a lot. I've turned a lot of my hobbies into work. So,
and we know from previous eps that you used to pickle things.
That was a business, yeah. That I turned into a business, yeah.
Oh yeah, that's right.
I like editing. Like audio editing, like script editing. I recently have turned that into a little bit of a side hustle. I like writing, so I've also recently turned that into a little bit of a side hustle. I started my own business this year called James Kidd Creations, so I just do essentially whatever people need created or tweaked. Yeah.
Sweet. Renaissance man, if you will.
Jack of all trades, master of a few?
Absolutely.
Well, we know that Freeman has a hobby that involves an app on his phone and quenching his thirst.
Pokemon Go, motherfuckers!
No Pokemon Go. Pokemon Go lost me because the combat was boring. I was like, I have no desire to actually catch them all. You know, right. I just want to catch the ones I like and fight. And it just sucked. Yeah, beer's a hobby, right? We've covered that. I do love me beer.
Freeman is also into pickling, just specifically his liver.
Yes, exactly.
Do you have an update for the listeners? How many beers you drank now?
The more fermented I am, the better it all works. I'll take a look. It's not much higher actually. I kind of slowed down for a little bit. I've been off and on sick over the last couple of months as well. I was sick twice in the last 3 months, like very ill.
And we're sure that doesn't have anything to do with the alcoholism.
No, we're definitely not sure of that. My immune system's probably garbage.
I'm drinking a Fat Tug, so shields up because shots are going to get fired here.
Oh, yum.
I haven't had a Fat Tug in years. I'm
out.
scared of them. They mess me up. It's like there's a mystery behind Fat Tug. It's apparently the percentage it claims, but it fucks you up way faster than the average IPA.
Facts.
Yeah, I'm only about 80 over my 3,000 mark now for the beers. Since I don't remember when it was we recorded that episode. We talked about it. It was in January.
Yeah, so give us a little recap, just for those of us who don't remember. What 3,000 beers you have? What?
Like uniquely drank and like rated on this app, essentially. I just use it to keep track of what I have and haven't had, and I've used it. It's been a sort of a way for educating myself, essentially. The app has lots of information on what to expect from styles, and then what to expect from those specific beers, and you sort of cross-reference as you go. And I've been in a loose competition with my old boss back home, who's now ahead of me again. Yeah, it's I guess to a degree it is a bit of a hobby, or at the very least it's part of my work, and I just really enjoy beer, and I'm a bit of a beer nerd, and I love to talk about beer and what to expect, and I like a pretty wide variety.
Freeman, what is the app called in case the listeners would like to get on the app and be part of this competition?
and
as long as they're over 19 years old.
Yeah. Or 18 in some provinces, and or Europe.
Or 21 in some places.
Yeah, well, fuck them. They're wrong, though.
It's called Untapped with no E for some reason. I don't know why. Other than drinking beer, I don't really have that many hobbies, to be honest. I guess in a way, I've turned a couple of hobbies into work, like James. So in particular, our original podcast, Encounter This, very much sort of involves like some creative writing and then just some organizing and writing of episodes. And I'd never really been much of a practice writer before, but feel like I took to it pretty quickly and enjoyed it a lot. It certainly coincided with playing and running D&D. So it was like we were doing the podcast and having fun at our own tables at the same time. And then of course this podcast, big time, really stretches those wings. And the other thing I do dabble in just to keep creative and enjoy is playing music. I don't play my keyboard nearly as much, but I pick up the accordion probably at least once a day and play a song or two, and just jam around, sing a little bit.
Very cool.
And I cycle a lot.
Nice.
That's kind of boring. So,
well, the time has come. Spring has sprung.
Spring has sprung.
And Duncan.
I like where you put the emphasis on that one.
On the wrong syllable.
Yeah.
I had a total aside. I lived in Quebec for a while. Like before I actually went to Montreal, I lived in a really francophone kind of a community on an exchange, and that's how they would pronounce my name, like this kind of Duncan. Wrap your head around.
Amazing.
No, I don't really. Yeah, I've got a few hobbies. I'm a musician like Freeman, but not on the kind of professional get on stage and be good at it kind of way. But
I mean, you're definitely a better keyboard player than me, though. Like, I mean,
I'm a better keyboard player, but man, you can out accordion the fuck out of me.
It's true.
You guys should do a version of our theme song.
Could you imagine? Hey, oh yeah, I play the whistle too, so I could be like, get that win.
There's a Patreon goal right there.
There you go. The old piano accordion tin whistle cover.
That one cover everyone's been clamoring for.
James, you have a bass, right?
I have a bass. I play guitar.
I play bass as well.
I'll hit up Will for the sheet music.
There we go. Yeah, other than that, the music's a lot of it, and then living in the middle of nowhere, it's cycling, but not cycling on a hellish cityscape like I'm sure Freeman is. I get to go mountain biking all the time, and yeah, other than that, this has been a huge part of my free time lately of learning how to edit and learning how to podcast and stuff. So thanks, Freeman, for taking all my free time up.
No biggie.
I think you should thank the listeners for that.
I mean, thanks, listeners. I
You're
really
welcome,
appreciate it.
listeners.
Yeah. Listeners, write in and tell us whether or not you would like to thank Duncan for his participation. Let us know if you think it's worth it.
Mom, I know you're listening.
Your mom, Duncan's mom, got him Stemming the Tide mug for Christmas, which is so
Amazing.
awesome.
Unofficial merch. She will be hearing from her
Yeah,
lawyers.
bootleg.
Yes,
Cease and
oh, for
desist
sure.
is coming in hot.
Speaking of which, we haven't really announced this yet, and I know this episode's not coming out for a long time yet, so will have been announced by then. But just in case the listeners don't know or they haven't heard, we do have official merch available at unchartednorth.com/shop, and
/
we do have a Patreon at patreon.com/unchartednorth.
Yeah, there's stuff out there, guys.
Yeah, and if you sign up for a certain tier, you'll get a discount code for the merch store. It's through Teespring. So we basically throw the majority of our cut at you for free, and just so you can shop us around to all your friends. But yeah, please hit us up and hit us up at our free Discord as well, our public Discord. We don't have a vanity URL for that, but you could get through it on the website and through all our Reddit posts. And we're regularly on there, and you can hit us up with even suggestions for what you think our Patreon should look like, and what would entice you to join our community.
Wow, what a plug.
Well, look at us turning a nice segue into a plug into a terrible segue again.
Yeah, now we're back fucked again. Okay. All right, listeners, and my hobbies are this, painting minis as well. Got a little warhammer, and I like to ski. So there you go. Sometimes I take my bow and arrow out, and yeah, that's about it.
Do you do that while skiing?
I wish, dude. Honestly, is it biathlon where you shoot and ski?
Yeah,
I think so,
I
yeah.
should have.
but it would be better if you did downhill skiing with the bow and arrow.
That'd
It's
be way
true,
better.
because the downside of biathlon is cross-country skiing blows. And,
I love cross-country skiing.
No, man. It's like, why bother when you could just rip down the hill at insane speeds and then chairlift up?
I hold snow with utter contempt. I have the most insane aversion to it. I want nothing to do with snow ever again in my entire life. So, yeah, no skiing for me. I did try snowboarding a couple times.
Vancouver.
I think that's just pronounced athlon.
Yeah. I do love the idea of Scoot going down a hill on skis with a bow and arrow and trying to hit targets. But also there's me in an abominable snowman suit, just like the old internet game, just trying to chase him down. That's the one, Ski Free.
Speaking of getting chased down, why don't we run away from this wood golem?
There it is.
Yeah, bitch.
Suck it, Barn.
We're grasping at straws here, fellas. Let's just get into it.
Yeah, well, you picked a boring one, so shut up. Now, I think there are two things to cover on that combat, or well, maybe a couple of things. I mean, you guys are all fucked up pretty much. That was harrowing. I actually forgot to, because you guys were barely hitting it and damaging it. I actually forgot to use its reaction. I'm not gonna tell you what it is, because you might go back in there and fight it. But you might not have all made it out if I had used it. So I'll give you that. It wasn't an attack of opportunity, but it's something that still would have hit you. And there was one other thing we discovered off mic about that scenario for Lady Gilda. Do you want to cover that, James?
Yeah, Freeman is going to give her a hero point for spending 2 actions to push Physic out of the room. We discovered that because she uses the hand wraps and mighty blows and it counts as a worn item versus a weapon, her fist is technically unarmed, which means at the same time she punches, she can hold one-handed items. So in that combat in particular, I would not have had to put away the +1 silver hatchet. I could have just punched it with the hatchet still in my hand.
And for anyone wondering how we came to that, it's because Gilda's using unarmed strikes, but specifically it's a fist that is the favored weapon of her deity. And fist, listed mechanically, has the unarmed trait, and the unarmed trait describes the situation as if the unarmed attack is what you call a grasping limb. It also operates as a having the free hand trait. So essentially, Gilda can hold a one-handed weapon and still punch and get the full effect of her deific favored weapon without having to sheath it every time. So that kind of came across with the hatchet when she pulled it out. Probably didn't have to put it back away. Is what we're getting at. So one accidentally wasted action essentially. But hey, the more you know.
The more you know.
The more you know. So could be very beneficial down the line, but we'll see.
I'll make it beneficial.
It's some pretty sweet versatility if you have the right weapon at your disposal. So yeah. Yeah, I'm just gonna go ahead and assume you guys are gonna gather back into ye old library hallway after the door has been closed. I've closed initiative, and you guys are looking real rough. Only Tulok is looking okay.
Gilda is like studded with shards of wood at this point, and she's got probably a big one through her sternum. Mechanically, she's down to 10 health, and that's after Physic healed her on his last turn.
The new Master Splinter.
Okay, heal is doing a lot of heavy lifting there. I think I healed you for 1 HP.
3. She was at 7
yeah.
when she stepped up to that creature.
I might as well interject now and just get this over with. But I do think Lady Gilda should get a hero point for calling a retreat. It was absolutely the right decision. And I feel like no one was going to do it if Lady Gilda didn't call it.
That was our Kobayashi Maru.
Yeah. I want to give Tulok a hero point for even though the retreat was called, summoning the Festrog to make sure the retreat was more successful. That was actually pretty clutch, I would say. At the very end there, I made the decision to turn and attack the Festrog. If the Festrog wasn't there, it would have started marching towards Lady Gilda, and then I'm definitely going to give one to Physic as well. For usually he hangs back and plays defensively and safely, but he stuck in that doorway and tossed an elixir of life. It wasn't much healing, but it was every effort he could give to help with that retreat. So I think
Shad,
I think
he feels left out.
Shad did fuck all. He couldn't unlock the door. He got hit really hard and almost died, and then ran to the bathroom. Actually, I feel like I want to take one of Tulok's hero points away just for suggesting it.
Hey, I didn't know if this thing was going to fall us out, and he has a single hit point. So,
in fairness, Duncan's playing Shad this week, so Physic would lose the hero point.
hey.
And
yeah, but
I
Tulok
don't have
Tulok made all those poor decisions. Scott did. Sorry,
That's fair. Yeah.
Okay, well that's out of the way. Duncan's got Shad this week.
Yep, which is good because Physic's probably going to have to do a lot of work with Shad with him being down to 1 fucking HP right now.
Yeah, so I was pondering this off mic, and I think now is the time where we go back to Otari and just spend a day, heal up, sell any of the shit we need to sell, level up, and just keep on going.
Yeah, honestly, I think that's a perfect idea. Every single point that you just said is a must.
In that order, let's go.
Yeah,
Freeman didn't pick up on any of that.
He agreed to it
on
mic.
It's on my yeah.
Yep.
Sorry, yeah, I genuinely wasn't paying attention.
Well, you just agreed to level up.
Oh,
yeah,
level
I
up.
threw level up mid sentence.
No.
This is going to be the part where I put in some like
Snuck
harp
it in.
music going like, and then it'll be Freeman agreeing to it again.
Yeah. No, you guys just leveled up. Slow your roll. But okay, so you guys are heading back to town. Is there a particular route you're taking? We don't have to go every step by step here, but just give me the general route, how you're getting to the surface. And
as safe as possible.
We'll follow the Otari sledge back to level 2, and then we'll go through the secret room back to level 1, and then just go around like we normally do in level 1.
Okay. On your way through, Augrail kind of peeks around the corner from the south there. He's like,
So if I have more books, can I go in and read them?
Yeah, maybe don't just yet, Augrael. And she like motions to all of these splinters sticking out of her breastplate.
That's a new fancy attire you got there.
Yeah, it's now become studded leather, and
Hey,
not in the good way.
kids got jokes.
She's actually wearing chainmail mechanically, but
Yeah.
you
want to get a hair point if you said it's studded chainmail. You missed it.
I know.
Damn.
That bit wouldn't have been as good.
True.
I promise we'll find you. We'll figure out how to. Sorry, Augrael. I've lost a lot of blood in the last 20 minutes here. We will eventually figure out how to defeat that creature to give you access to what I'm assuming is the private book reserve. But for now, maybe just stick to this part of the library where it's probably, definitely, mostly safe.
And if you see a wooden statue of Belcora coming out this way, just run.
Oh, yeah. Ghost Queen in physical form. That doesn't sound like friendly. That's fine. I've got plenty of books to read here, and for now, I'll be here.
And let us know if we can bring you back anything from town, or if you find any more of those books that we're looking for.
Will do. Undead flesh. You could bring me more undead flesh.
Fresh out of undead flesh.
If we come across any, we'll bring it for you, but no promises. It's mostly down here.
Okay, there's lots in stores here anyway. That's fine.
He's got a whole bunch in the reading room, plus that room you guys found that's piled with decaying corpses. All these other ones.
Speaking of which, I would like to do a recall knowledge on what little of that effigy she saw on the table.
Oh, the sculpture of the town or something like that?
He didn't say it was of the town. He just said it was a sculpture.
It was of like a sprawling cityscape.
Okay.
Yeah, you didn't get enough time to look it over. You couldn't quite tell what it was from a distance, and by the time you got into the room, you were being attacked. So you don't know. You didn't register enough of it.
I think it's Absalom.
Yeah, safe bet.
Not like we found several models of the place.
Yeah, this young lady seems to be a little obsessed with it.
For sure.
For sure.
For sure, bud. Do you want to roll the random encounter table while we're walking back, or?
I am not going to roll on that. However, on your way back, with all of your wounds and everything, you're all feeling pretty weak. But Lady Gilda, you are starting to feel pretty feverish.
Oh, shit.
Uh-oh.
And I need you to roll me a fortitude save, please. As your ghoul fever has come full circle from when you acquired it, contracted it. That's what I'm looking for.
Oh, I forgot you got ghoul fever.
Yeah, that's been sitting latent for a while.
Thank goodness for the calendar and Foundry, the calendar module.
That is an 18 on the die for a 28.
Oof.
Nice.
Ooh.
Yeah. And with your perseverance of trying to get back to town, you force yourself through the sweaty fever.
Was that a second check too?
That was the second check, yeah. So you were at stage 1 with no effect. And rolling this one, if you succeed, it reduces the stage by 1, or if you fail, it increases. So you are free of ghoul fever.
Can we just say, I can't remember how long it takes to walk back there. 45 minutes, hour, couple hours?
I mean, it's going to take you a couple hours to get, or an hour at least to get out of the dungeon, and then it's something like an hour back on the trail. So about
I'll
2
take
hours.
a heal
worth.
or 2 on the way.
21 on the medicine roll for a treat wounds for another 12 HP back for Shad.
Oh, so 24 health.
Nice.
Yeah, that should put him at 25.
I'll take 1 as well if we're going about it, but
Yeah, treat wounds takes 10 minutes, so you can just have 12 back with my lay on hands.
I'm good then.
Actually, Physic's gonna take another 10 minutes if we can to heal himself.
I may forget this ruling, but I'm just gonna like throw out, like, if wherever you guys are at, when you're walking back to the surface, we'll call it half hour per level. So half hour for the level you're on, half hour for
Okay.
the second level, and then 1 hour from the surface.
Okay.
So Physic rolled a 29. I'm just gonna assume we can call it a DC 15 if I don't call it otherwise.
On 48.
8 HP back, but
You rolled two
on
ones and a
48,
two.
yeah.
I adore you, bud, but the second Physic dies, I think we're gonna be better off.
I'm not disagreeing with you at all. Yeah. Well, he's just gonna look up like, oh my. Okay. But because he has the Godless Healing, he will get an extra 5 HP back.
Okay.
For a very short amount of time, played at like level 12, a Superstition Instinct Barbarian, and they are not allowed. They are not allowed to willingly accept magic cast upon them, including heal spells. So it's like I went down the whole Godless Healing feat route myself. It was actually really cool, and you get extra bonuses for like non-magical healing stuff on you and whatnot. It was neat.
Yeah, it's great until you roll a fucking 8 on 4d8.
Well,
Oh
on the
my
way
God.
back to Atari, the half hour it takes, I can give you 36 HP back with my lay on hands if you want it.
Yeah, might as well take that because he's still pretty hurt.
I mean, when you get to the surface, you could literally just pass off your Pearly White Aeon Stone or your Wayfinder. It's instant investment. And
I don't think she's given that up.
He's been proven to be a thieving little bastard so far. So.
It's more so if I say I give it to you and we never on mic pass it back.
Yeah.
I don't know.
That's
I
what you're
don't
scared
want to
of?
deal with that.
Right.
I don't
Yeah.
know what I'd do.
That's fair.
What does town look like as we're rolling back in?
I mean, you're coming in around 9:15 in the evening, 2100 hours, and it's dark. It's settling. There's some people certainly hitting up the taverns. It's toil day.
How long has it been since we've been back in town?
That's a good question. I think James said off mic that it's been since episode 25. But how many days that is? I think it's been. I think it was on Rova 25. Was when you got the letter delivered for Lady Gilda, and she got her epaulet, and
Okay.
we're now on the 27th.
All right, 2 days. And what does the town look like in regards to cleaning up after the whole first wave? Like, are people just kind of going back to life as usual? Is the town destroyed? Like, what's the vibe?
Oh yeah, I mean, you could see immediately when you come out from the Gaunt Trail. Like you look to the south down Pharasma's Walk towards the graveyard. You can see fortifications along those walls. They were pretty sturdy to begin with, but it's clearly they're clearly a little more prepped from your point of view. You can kind of see along the ridge that leads down to the town and the Dawnflower Library. There are fortifications and they've started to build and set up really large fishing nets to catch any undead that would drop down over the cliff, because that's what they were doing. They were leaping over and landing on the ground or the library and attacking. So they're trying to prevent that in case it happens again. And you'd certainly see more. It's much more obvious that there's patrols on all the roads. So you can see torches being lit or traveling along all the roads on the outside. All the patrols have been upped for sure. But otherwise, like looking at the town itself, it certainly, appears to be, a little bit more back to normal.
Copy that.
Everyone still has to make their living. There's still the fishermen. There's still all the woodworkers. There's still the blacksmith. So that, they're certainly reallocating a number of the resources to helping with this offense, but they are also doing the normal business. It's been almost 1 week.
It's been 1 week since you looked at me.
He does in Physics voice. He does. Physics does sound a little bit like Stephen Page.
Yeah, that's who I'm basing it off.
Yeah. Yeah, the town is heading back to a bit of a normal. Almost, it'll be 1 week tomorrow since the event at the graveyard.
Shad, do you need to check back in with Yasmara or get some rest?
Yeah, so I suppose I'd check in with her, give her an update on what's going on, what we've discovered so far. But otherwise, I've got nothing on the docket.
Sounding super classy today there, Shad.
Well, I realized that I had a monocle in my pocket all this time. He just pulls it out and puts it up on one eye.
Oh, that's interesting, Shad. Is that worked into your backstory? Where are you from?
Oh, never mind my backstory. That's for another day, perhaps, when we are apart from each other.
What does that even mean? You shut your mouth when you're talking to me.
Will do. Thank you, Master Sulok.
That was Scott to Freeman.
Oh, I'm sorry.
That was Freeman to Scott.
Yeah, well, you don't look at me in that tone of voice. How about that?
Sure enough. Well, gentlemen, should we rest for the evening? Is there anything that we need to get done? Where are we with researching? Is there anything we need to look into while we're in town?
I think you've hit most of your caps on the in-town researches.
Yeah.
Truth is, Tulok, I'm just going to get a bottle of whiskey and a room for the night. I need a bath and a lay down, and we can look at researching tomorrow if that's something you'd like to do. But for tonight, I just need to get off my feet.
Yes, I completely understand.
Same with me. I don't even need the whiskey or the bath.
Tulok bids them farewell and is going to head towards Odd Stories. Sorry, I blanked for a second there.
Sure.
So
yeah.
Tulok is heading towards Odd Stories as he says goodbye.
All right.
Gilda heads to what is it? The Otari Fishery for a room and a drink.
All right.
And Physic just goes and crashes on whatever the equivalent of a goblin couch is in his living room.
It's a love seat.
Definitely a divan. Yeah.
Nice.
For those listeners listening in the States, a love seat is a 2-cushion sofa, whereas a sofa has 3 or more cushions. Canada slang.
Is
I
it
never
Canadian
knew that.
slang, love seat?
Is it?
Yeah, I think it's East Coast slang, isn't it?
I thought it was pretty ubiquitous.
I grew up
I'm
with
definitely
it, yeah.
familiar with the term. I
Okay.
just didn't assume it was a colloquialism. Yeah. I just thought it was...
Maybe I'm wrong.
Well, if you're from the United States, it's a place where we eat ketchup chips.
A chest of drawers. a chest of drawers used to be called a Chesterfield. That was a common one back home a bit.
Oh yeah, the old napkin versus serviette argument.
No, yeah.
Well, one of those is English and one of those isn't.
And welcome to the East Coast, a smattering of what's English and not English. Physics going down for a snooze. Gilda's going for a bevy. And what is at Odd Stories there, Tulok?
Presumably, it's a little late in the evening. The store is probably closed, but Tulok
Mhm.
goes and knocks on the door.
Sure, you can see some candlelight through the windows. You rap on the door, and just takes a little bit of time, but eventually you hear some footsteps and a cracking of the door, and there's Morlebent. Oh, Master Tulok,
Good evening,
what a
Morlebent.
pleasant surprise.
Yes, I hope it's not too late to be visiting after hours.
Oh, not at all, my friend. Come in, have a spot of tea.
Tulok follows him in and takes off his backpack and puts it at his feet as he sits down in whatever chair is available to him.
Yeah, he just kind of yells across the store. Husband, grab a cup of tea. Oh, our dear friend, Master Tulok.
Yes, well, it's been a hard couple days, but I want to make sure that I came to you first. We have many books that we found from your list, and I thought that potentially you'd like to get them first.
Oh, yes, this is lovely. I'd love to add these to my collection. You wouldn't know it, but I'm in need of some reading material.
So Tulok pulls out the bag of holding out of his backpack and just is reaching into this tiny little bag and just pulling out book after book after book. Because in the end, we have 7 bulk worth of books.
Yeah, and he's just so flabbergasted. My, you seem to have yourself quite the bag there, to fit all of these tomes inside. This is extraordinary. Thank you so much, Tulok.
We've discovered many things down there. many horrific things, in fact. But we have began looking through the library. There seems to be a second library. Maybe it is Balcora's personal library, but we don't know yet. We ran afoul of a golem within.
Yes, a golem. I can't say I know too much about them off the top of my head, but strange, powerful magics are usually used to form them.
It was indeed. And that on top of a cult down there is quite troubling.
Indubitably. How are you and your compatriots holding up?
I won't say that it's easy, Morlabent. We've met much resistance of all different types, and we narrowly made it out alive today, but we did. Physic is at home resting, and Lady Gilda's gone out for a stiff drink. We're all just coping however we can. Shad is probably having a drink as well.
Morlabent turns over. Husband, spot of brandy in the tea, yes? Come now, let's have a stiff one, shall we?
And I think that Tulok is actually going to attempt to gather information about Nimbleoth, because we actually haven't maxed out that in town. So he's going to say, do you believe that within these tomes I've returned to you, there would be any information about an outer god named Nimbleoth?
This is not something I would suspect. I can't say I'm familiar with them. This god, but so, and as such, it would not be on my list. At least I don't think so. But you are welcome to look through some of our more occult repertoire, if you like, to find more, and I'll do my best to skim through these for any evidence of such a thing. Well, do you know at least a little to give me some idea?
Yes.
And you could just like relay, this is the symbol, the skull with the moss, an outer god, that sort of thing.
Yeah, it's...
You don't have to go into full detail here, but...
Nimbleoth is actually a woman outer god, and her symbol is a skull with moss growing from it. And in fact, she does not speak with her own worshippers and cares nothing for them, so they truly have no anathemas. It is quite strange.
Yeah, it's a strange entity to worship. One that gives no thought or care to their followers, often draw the most depraved and desperate, I suppose.
It is strange. I don't know how you could pursue the love of a deity who cares literally nothing for you. In fact, watching Lady Gilda interact so closely with her own god, I think it would be so unfulfilling to believe in something that cares nothing for you.
Indeed. But some children still worship the parent that abuses them. And I find it far more disturbing to worship the god that actively influences horrible deeds. Perhaps there is a silver lining, but you are right to be disturbed. But if this will help, I will do my best to aid you in your research.
Thank you, Morlabent. You have been quite the asset on our journey so far. We appreciate it. All right, so I'm going to be rolling a gather information, which I believe is diplomacy, correct?
Yes. And I am going to have Morlabent aid you, if he can.
Okay.
He's going to do his best with occultism, his knowledge of occultism, and we'll give you a +1 to your roll.
Perfect. So that's a meet to beat. I rolled a 19.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
Oh. All right, hero point for that role play. That was great.
Fuck
Get
yeah.
yourself an aid and everything. Sick. And you get another point towards Nimbleoth. Okay, let me just double check the old math on this.
Yeah, we're at 2, right? That just made us to 3, so no new info, I assume.
No, that is actually your first threshold. 3.
Oh!
Oh, nice.
Yeah, baby.
So here's what you sort of come across with your conversation and a little bit of looking through some of the books. You piece together what you know a little bit about this god, and some of it's lines up with like maybe some bits of text you find that are hearsay, and you do a little bit of cross-referencing and some sort of deducing and logic building. And so you know that upon the banks of the River of Souls, where every mortal soul must cross the banks in their first step toward the afterlife, dangerous predators lurk to feast upon them. Creatures like night hags, astral demons, devourers, and worse. These are the sorts of things that mortal men can tell you. Dread Nimbaloth, however, does not deign to hunt these souls, but instead the apex predators themselves, preferring to consume them while they still digest their prey. She is no glutton, but instead eternally patient and can linger on any plane or world for centuries before even being noticed. And that is all you know for now.
All right, and Tulok just turns to Morlabint and says, "It's enlightening, but frightening at the same time. I do thank you for your help and for the stiff tea. I'll let you have your evening, and I bid you good night."
Thank you very much, Tulok. It is indeed worrisome that somehow a creature so depraved and uninterested might be involved in all this. I wonder what this Nimbaloth could gain by touching our world, if they have bothered to do it at all.
And Tulok takes that and just begins to ruminate on it as he walks back towards his caravan.
Lady Gilda, you're enjoying a quiet drink in the corner, all be yourself?
Yes. Lady Gilda is putting off big don't talk to me energy. She gets to the fishery and she is exhausted. She's been tired before, but this last couple of days really felt like she's been through the shit and back. She hasn't been as effective as she'd liked, but she made it out alive. So she gets in. She gets a bottle of mid-level whiskey from Tamerlane. Sits down at a table like a two-top in a corner or against a wall by herself. Shrugs off her heater and then just leans back and unbuckles the belt on her leg and just makes sure nobody talks to her. She has a couple of shots before heading up to her room with the bottle.
Yeah, sure. Yeah. On your way in, you cross paths with Keelino Lathanar, who has a real nasty look on his face. You probably reflect on the last conversation you had with Longsaddle. But he doesn't address you. He just sort of almost bumps into you going through the doorway and just heads back towards the market. Sitting there, having a bevy or five to yourself. At some point, Carmen Rajani starts to wander over to your table. And despite all of your don't mess with me energy, he sits down in front of you and kind of looks at you, but doesn't seem to really be able to focus. He just sort of resigns to like looking, slightly over and on at the table. He's just like, so bullshit, isn't it? Fucking Renemus is had his turn. He's had his turn. Johnny, we deserve our turn. We have history here too, right? It's our turn, and these bastards won't let us have it. You know what I'm saying. You're new to town. You seen how bad it can get under his regime. It's bullshit.
I was under the impression that he was democratically elected.
Right, but not for long. Not for long. Not after this garbage. I've been working the crowd for years, and now they see how weak he is. They see it. He couldn't do anything to fix me in my shop. Blaze for Glaze. Couldn't do it. I'm essential. He's not. He's a politician. He's a wood guy. It's just he doesn't know anything about anything.
Here's to Mayor Rajani, she says, and she raises the shot.
It's like he's glassy eyed as fuck, and he just like
Yeah.
gets a little bit of energy out of that. He's like, yeah, Mayor Johnny, that's me.
You know who'd love to hear that, Carmen?
What's that?
Mr. Hengis over there. I bet you he could put some muscle in your corner.
Yeah, you're right. He's muscle, and he's got muscle, and he's tough enough to crack. It's a tough nut.
Probably one of the mayor's top boys, being running his show up at the Flume.
It's a tough nut.
Right, but if he can turn Clort, then he's got the town.
That's true.
He's got the tools and what the tools are used for.
But are you setting him up for? You're setting him up for failure right now with this conversation. Correct?
No, she legitimately believes that if this is what Carmen wants, this is what Carmen can get. He's to Gilda. He's this legendary craftsman. He made her father's armor. So if this is what he wants, then he can get it because he has skill and he has the ability to be patient and work metal. So she believes that that's a transferable skill. He can be patient, work the crowd, find those soft spots, hammer the dings out. She doesn't care about Otari politics, but she cares enough about him to point him in the direction that would actually sway town center.
Metallurgy and statecraft so often coincide.
Paranebara, anybody?
He goes to stand up and like barely is able to like hold himself. He nearly falls over, nearly knocks the chair over, but he steadies himself. He's like, "You should go talk to him right now, right? Is that what you mean? Is that what you mean? Should do it? Or should I? Maybe. No, I'll go talk to him. I'll go talk to him." And he's like half asleep at this point.
She was about to tell him to ask him out for breakfast, but I guess he wanders off mid-sentence.
Yeah, he just sort of stumbles across the room, sort of toward Clort, and a couple eyes pick up from Clort's table, and they catch Carmen, and he catches them, and he like he thinks he's masked it, but he really hasn't, and he just like turns himself towards the door, pretending like he was never going there to begin with, and then just walks out of the game hall.
I think I invented that move.
Yeah. And that's what we call a French Canadian goodbye.
AKA the au revoir.
Oh God,
That's French listeners.
I'm afraid I don't have much for you, Physic. He went to bed.
Yeah, kind of backed myself into a corner on that one.
Sorry.
He had a really interesting dream, though.
What did he dream about?
Maybe saw a long saddle on the way. That'd be fun.
Physic dreamed about seeing his one-time friend, Samal, get brutally murdered in front of his eyes, and how he keeps diving down into the dungeon over and over. And just seeing the demise of all the friends around him, and purple flames wreathed around them. Possibly Zarangal popping up out of nowhere with a little like, "Hey, how are ya?"
Just having these like repetitious nightmares.
Yeah, pretty standard stuff for his sleeping schedule.
Nice.
Like when you work behind the bar, you just have dreams of the chip machine
Chip
going off.
printer.
Yeah,
I still get chip
never
printer
ends.
dreams, and it's been like 10 years.
Yeah, it's bad news.
Emotional damage.
All right, you guys crash. What time do you get up in the morning?
You said we got back around like 9:30.
Yeah.
Physic would probably get up around 5:30 for the full 8 hours, and go to the market.
Sure.
Do you think we'd pre-establish the market as like our meeting place?
No, but it's a
I don't
good
know if you
call.
did, but it makes sense.
I'd imagine you guys had been up for a bit, and he would have just been wandering around looking at stuff, thinking of what to buy.
Yeah, I think Tulok would have slept in a little bit, considering he was up slightly later having that conversation with Morlabint, and I don't think he would have gone straight home anyways. He kind of prowled the streets a little bit, just deep in thought and thinking about the information that he just learned and how that could apply to the situation at the lighthouse. And then he goes to sleep, and then I think he wakes up a little later in the morning, kind of the ruckus in the market kind of is picking up a little bit. He can smell breakfast being cooked and just is slow to rise, but opens up his door and just sees Physic kind of fumbling around in the marketplace and looking around and just, hey, Physic, good morning, come over.
And then he'll Physic will wander over like, oh, hey, Turlock, how was your night? Did Morlabint tell you anything?
Yes, we managed to get some information. I'll let you know everything when Lady Gilda arrives. And I managed to sell those books as well. How was your night? How did you sleep?
Well, I've got a pretty comfy love seat. I've been having some pretty bad dreams about everything that's going on with us these days.
Oh, really? What were your dreams about?
I dreamt about Samal and seeing him rise from the dead. Worried about all those poor souls out there that are also either trapped in their bodies or their bodies are moving with their souls no longer in them. We've stumbled upon something that's I feel is beyond us, but what can we do but keep going?
Tulok glances to the empty stall of Samal, which may or may not be filled by now. Potentially there's someone in the market who's taken his place. But he looks to where it used to be and kind of winces at the fact that Physic was saying that he's thinking about creatures walking around with no souls in them, and just having a quick recollection on the fact that he's been animating the undead recently. And so he kind of winces at that. But
You probably note too, like a lack of aroma. There was always a perfectly brewed, rotating different coffee that came from that stall. But yeah, it is now filled again with some random person with random goods.
so Tulok moves, is looking at his face, moves from a wince to kind of a half smile at Physic and says, yes, times are dark, Physic, and I don't know what they mean for us, and I don't understand what's going on and why this evil is so close to us, but let's find Lady Gilda and perhaps we can get our day started on a better foot.
So Gilda doesn't make it to whatever preordained meeting time and meeting spot we had previously established.
Okay.
A little hungover, huh?
Uh-oh.
You get a whole bottle of whiskey.
Tulok buys some snacks at the market for him and Physic as they're waiting. And when Lady Gilda doesn't show up, he is immediately concerned. Perhaps we should go look for her. I know walking around and trying to find someone without your cell phone is always frustrating, as you always end up in the wrong spot, but we should go look nonetheless.
Yeah, I've got
Tulok's
no bars
eye
here
starts bleeding.
whatsoever.
I mean, you guys would probably know she was staying at the fishery.
Yeah.
Yeah. And they walk over that direction.
Yeah, I mean, it's early in the morning. Most of the fishers are off into their boats at this point. Step in and Tamily is bustling about prepping for the luncheon when they come back. Her peg leg thudding on the floor with a combination of black and pink ribbons, a big black but like glossy silky bow shining on it. And as you step in, just well, if it isn't Master Physic and Tulok, a pleasure. I'm afraid I haven't seen Lady Gilda just yet. Seems to be having a bit of a lay-in, you know.
Well, good morning, Tamily. Do you mind if we sit? Are you available?
Not
for
at all,
us?
not at all. Have some kippers, some toast. Treat yourself.
So Tulak sits down, orders maybe a couple cups of coffee and some bacon and toast.
And it's fucking good coffee. Oh boy.
Love that.
Aside from Samal Stall, best coffee in town.
Well, now it's
Gotta
the best
love a
coffee
good
in
black
town.
coffee. You know what I mean? Really give you a good kick in the teeth to get the day started. So
Today's brew is a bit rich, chocolatey notes, but a wee bit of bitter orange as well.
absolutely lovely, Tamily. Thank you so much. Perhaps you could go knock on the door of Lady Gilda, as opposed to us heading up there unannounced.
It's a bit unusual, but I suppose I could do that. Just, check in to see if she's okay, I suppose.
Yeah.
Yeah, and she goes up and gives a very light rapping of the door.
Her leg on the ground was probably louder than the knock.
Yeah, 100%. Da-dunk, da-dunk, da-dunk. Boop, boop, boop.
We cut to Gilda kneeling on the floor in the center of her small room at Tamily's fishery. She has her head down and her hands together in prayer. Unraveled in front of her is a single strand of dirty white fabric with a glowing rune inked on it. She opens her eyes and picks up the fabric. Then she begins to diligently wrap it tightly around her bruised knuckles on her right hand, and then her left. During these last moments of her morning meditation, she speaks aloud her mantra, her first words of the day, every day. Aurora, guide me to protect those around me and shield them from harm. My body is an extension of your might. My mind a library where I seek to deposit a little new wisdom each day. Through your grace, I will be a better version of myself by sunset. Please give me strength when I am weak. Give me courage when I am afraid, and bless me with a peace of mind when I am in turmoil. In your name, I battle to protect those closest to me and the citizens of Atari. She finishes the prayer at the precise moment as she finishes wrapping her hands, and the fabric crackles with divine energy, a daily reminder that Aurora has heard her prayers. She then struggles to stand, but does so without the aid of her brace, and then dons her armor with the same deliberate practice as she wraps her knuckles. The same motions and movements every morning, giving her a few moments of true serenity. After her armor, she limps to the wardrobe where her leg brace is neatly folded, laying atop her cloak, and next to a thin silver chain with a rainbow feather hanging around the end. She reaches in for her brace, but her hand comes up clutching the feather in a tight fist. She grimaces as she presses the necklace to her chest, and the memory of white-hot pain cutting deep into her muscle of her thigh floods back to her. She remembers the pain of the blade lodging into her femur as if it was happening all over again, and the memory of the pain overcomes her. The next moment, she's lying screaming in a triage deep in the Asphodel Mountains, her father clutching her hand in his general regalia and her other fist clutched around the feather. General Liu offers prayers to Shaylin as the surgeon digs around in her thigh for the remaining pieces of the sword. Metal on metal rings out as the shards drop into a metal bowl on the table next to her bed after the surgeon pulls them from her wounds. She remembers all too well the feeling of him slipping in a pair of what can best be described as pliers. The agony as it clasps around the largest piece still deeply embedded in the bone, and a second of unbelievable torment before she blacks out. A knock at the door brings her out of the memory and back to the present where she finds herself on her knees again. She wills herself back to her feet and brushes the tears of pain and fury from her eyes before opening the door to see Tamily standing there smiling, which quickly fades to shock and then to concern. I'll be down shortly, she says calmly and quietly in complete juxtaposition with her anguished and disheveled appearance.
Tamily just stares, super wide-eyed, reaches out to rest a hand on Gilda's shoulder, but hesitates and turns and hurriedly heads back down the hall.
Then she shuts the door and hobbles to the basin to wash her face and apply the usual tight braid to her long red hair. Then she makes her way back to the wardrobe where she hides the rainbow feather that at one time meant so much to her. She then dons her backpack and hefts her sturdy shield. Grabbing the brace, she limps out and begins to strap the apparatus on as she makes her way downstairs. Gilda makes it to the bottom of the stairs, still tightening the strap on her leg, and spots Tulok and Physic and slides in next to them. She reaches over and pulls a kipper off Tulok's plate and eats it. Morning, boys.
Tulok pours her a cup of coffee out of the mug.
Oh, thanks very much there, Tulok.
So I went to Morlabint last night, and I dropped off the books, got the money for it, but we also discovered some more information about Dread Nimbeloth. And he reveals the information that they had discovered. It is quite worrisome that such dark, dark powers are being harnessed there or studied there, who knows? Either way, it's off-putting to say the least.
To say the least. That kind of evil effigy, a predator of predators, it can't bode well for us in the future. But, well, I suppose that's not really for us to deal with at the moment. We're not exactly god slayers. We're just, I don't mean to be reductive, but we're simple adventurers. We're doing the town of Otari a favor by clearing this Gauntlight out so no more of these corpses rise. And as much as they may be dedicated to this Nimbeloth, I don't think we're going to have to encounter her or it directly. Do you think that maybe our primary concern is the golem or what's beyond the reserve room?
Well, I guess my worry about Nimbeloth was not necessarily we'd be facing her immediately, or at all, but that my powers are dark, and these powers in the tower and in the dungeon below are dark, and I just hope that I'm not getting my powers from a creature like this. And he kind of casts his eyes down. And he said that almost more to himself than to Lady Gilda, but then he quickly stutters back and says, but I also think that, maybe behind the door, I don't know if we're ready for this golem, and moves the subject along.
You know, Tulok, maybe it's the exercise of late that's given me a little bit of clarity, but if your power comes from a dark place, it's not about its origin. It's more about what you're doing with it, and what you're doing with it is good, even if it does have dark origins. You should be proud of yourself.
Well, thank you. I do suppose you're right, and I do wish to use all these powers, and only in the pursuit of good, and only to rid the evil from this land.
And you're doing that. We're all doing that. Physic, you, your fallen friend. It's all been in the name of Otari and in the name of the greater good.
I suppose you're right. So, what shall we do today to move on to get things going again? We should catch up with Shad.
Sorry, I was just suddenly picturing that through the whole conversation. The Physics just like just eating so many kippers on toast.
Like loudly sipping the coffee.
What's a kipper?
It's just like a little fish.
It's like a sardine.
Yeah. What are you guys gonna do with the rest of your time in town?
I actually don't have anything I want, so it's kind of up to you guys.
Well,
Could probably use some healing items at all times.
yeah, as long as we're here, we should probably just take some of the money that we have and get some healing potions.
So I know I've said this before. I don't know if it was on mic or off, but you want to be cautious about spending too much of your money on consumables. They're useful. They're extremely useful, and they've helped you a lot along the way, especially some of those lesser healing potions. But they are consumed and gone. So you sometimes want to build your coin up so you can purchase items that are more tangible and have more longevity.
That's fair. If we want, I can go a bit more on the cautious side on this expedition and just use a shitload of my reagents on healing potions. Especially now that I can throw them at you.
Okay, what levels heal?
It's a level 1 spell, I think, but it heightens as you go, so it could be any level.
So, I mean, why don't we just get a level 1 wand of heal for 60 gold pieces?
So the downside to the wand is that you'd have to rely on trick magic item because it's definitely not going to be in the occultism list. I think it's divine only.
Yeah, it is.
But I mean, out of combat, you could probably get
That's kind of what I'm thinking of is that unless you guys have any other ideas, I don't really understand healing outside of magical healing. I haven't looked into mundane at all. That's kind of physics realm.
It's pretty much all potions or treat wounds.
Yeah. The only thing I have that's better than that is my my healer's gloves, which I can only use once a day.
And like realistically, like eventually you can get an upgraded version of those, but that's going to be more than a few levels away, probably.
Yeah, I think it's level 5 or 6 that I can get a lesser elixir of healing.
I mean, I don't know what your collective gold is right now, but
we're not looking as hard as we were.
Speaking as an absolutely neutral party, I would suggest saving your money, and yeah, maybe reorganizing your alchemical stuff a little bit, and playing it safe as best you can, and do some research on what is worth purchasing as you get closer to level 5.
Yeah, I do still have a lesser healing potion. I can craft a lot of elixirs of life, but that's only 1d6 plus that circumstance bonus. That's my only worry with the elixirs of life is like it's such a small amount, especially with how well I roll.
It'll be more to get the magic wand because we need to supply the spell as well.
You have to pay someone to cast it.
So we had to pay someone to cast it. I mean, maybe we could get them to do it at the Dawnflower without paying anything, but yeah, we have 60 GP.
Yeah.
Have you been looking at items at all for physic?
Not really.
No, me neither. I definitely need to start taking a peek so we can.
Yeah, kind of super been dependent on better readers than I.
So I want to throw in too, like you have 60 gold, but that might seem like a lot, but that's a lot at level 1 or 2. It's probably middling now, and it's going to become a pittance before too long. So that's why that's another reason why I'm kind of pushing, saying maybe save it and do some research.
It would be nice if we get a little bit more used to running the fuck away from stuff. Because we've run into a lot of situations that should have killed us, and we get lucky.
Mm-hmm.
All right, well, let's skip that then.
All right, I also got 14 gold that I'm going to put into the party loot, which will put us up to 72 in there.
And I'll drop in the 35.
Do we want to do anything with the slick rune, the weapon potency? I guess we should just give one of those 2 thieves tools to Shad because he broke his.
I think you already did, actually, to be honest.
Yeah, I broke mine.
Okay, so I'll reduce our thieves tools to 1.
Potency rune could go on. I think it could go on the crossbow, alchemical crossbow. No.
Would we have to take the day to?
You would have to take today, yeah. But you could leave. We don't have to like call it 24 hours. Just call it 1 working day.
Well, that's good because I barely work. Yeah, that'd be fine.
Oh no, wait, it's already a +1, isn't it? You already have it as a +1.
Yeah, it is a +1.
Never mind. Okay, that's my bad.
What else do you have floating around? Did you put the did anyone want that slick?
So the slick is a higher level 1. Like you can't put it on a piece of armor until you have a +1 armor, and a +1 armor is like level 5 or something.
Right. Oh man, I keep forgetting that. We've gone over
That's
this
why
like
I've been
20
holding on
times.
I'm just going to put it in Gilda's Footlocker so we don't even look at it anymore because when I get that, I want that slick rune. Or if you ever get a +1 wizard robes 2 luck, I think it would be a huge benefit to you. Physic, I know you're a dex-based character, so I don't know how much it's going to affect you.
I'm dex-based as well. Yeah. Well, not dex. It's my second highest. It's 16.
Yeah, but you're charisma-based, right?
Yeah, charisma-based,
okay.
Yeah.
But dex is like the primary defense of the caster, essentially.
Yeah. So, I mean, the slick rune would help you more than would help physic, ideally. Ideally, physics dex is out of sight.
Yeah, it's important to note this slick rune affects acrobatics only for escape checks, so not your unarmed strikes and not your athletics options. Only acrobatics.
And that's why I'd rather give it to Physic or Tulok, but I'm just taking it out of the party loot because I can athletics and unarmed strike my way out of just about anything these days.
Yeah. And casters can be like, I think they're travelers closer, they're adventurers clothing, something like that. They can have runes added to them.
Well, all right. Let's go get fucked up in a dungeon again.
Does anyone want to do any research or anything before we leave?
Is there any research we can do?
Do more Nimbleoth.
Always get a couple rolls in at odd stories, I think. So you have 3 more points available in town for Nimbleoth.
Yeah, so I'll do one.
You got it. 25 you got. Which one are you going for? Odd stories? It doesn't really matter.
Let's do Dawnflower just to get it out of the way. I'm sure Gilda has a better relationship with Vandy than with Morlevant.
Surely, yeah. Tulok and Physic, you want to give it a go?
Yeah, I'll take one. Sorry, religion and what are my other options here?
Religion or an applicable lore.
Okay, that'll be religion. Coming at you.
I got a 15 in religion, so nada.
Physic got a 25, so he got a point. This is definitely burning 2 hours, so we're looking at 11 a.m. still. You guys want to continue on?
Nice dungeon matinee.
Yeah, Gilda would meet up with them at Odd Stories and do another peruse through the shelf. Sorry, that's a natural 20 for a 26.
Yeah.
Ooh.
Could have used that before. But you are capped. And you are now completely out of options in town for Nimbleoth. But on the upside, you hit another threshold.
Oh, awesome.
This is going to be Info Dump, episode 36. Take a boo. Oh, what's that? Sorry.
I believe we're capped on all of our knowledge from town actually now.
Yeah, that was it.
Yeah, you find some really obscure notes in some of the books in Odd Stories. And with the information that Gilda gathered at the library, which is quite little, it does help clarify some, perhaps some inconsistencies or false claims. And you piece together that Nimbleoth uses the River of Souls to manifest upon the universe's countless worlds. So, however, she cannot do so whenever she wills it. Instead, any given world must first endure a cataclysmic event in which a mass of souls are dumped into the River of Souls all at once, weakening and thinning the borders and boundaries between life and death. Nimbleoth then slips through any crack or torn seam that she can find. And this blurring of the River of Souls and its banks is metaphysically akin to the muddled boundary of a swamp. And thus she prefers to dwell in swamplands of any world in which she emerges. This also means the surrounding areas usually turn from natural beauty to dangerous fen, fetid and festering with all manner of monsters. Will-o-wisps are especially drawn to these areas. These feeders of fear revel in the ruin wrought by the empty death, as if a fine wine of unparalleled vintage.
So it's like Belcora was planning to do that cataclysmic event. Okay, maybe I'll do that in character. It seems that Belcora was planning a cataclysmic event, perhaps the attack on Absalom, to bring Nimbleoth into our world.
I think you might be right, Tulok. In Andoran, there's a very famous play that deals with the vanquishing of ghosts. And I think in this case, we can extrapolate that Nimbleoth would be equivalent to Gozer the Destroyer.
Well, I ain't afraid of no ghosts.
Ooh.
No, that was perfect. Thanks for getting that reference, Duncan. I appreciate you.
Yeah, no problem.
Oh,
There is no Zool.
were you actually making a reference?
Gozer the Destroyer is the one who brings about the Marshmallow Man in Ghostbusters 1. And
Now, spoilers for original Ghostbusters, eh?
Yeah, that 1988 movie. 86?
The Fogfen somehow sounds more ominous now.
Yeah, doesn't it? Nearly explains the existence of corpse lights floating around. It's now early afternoon, and you head back.
Correct. We get Shad first. Don't forget about Shad.
Shad
Shad.
will.
Are we going to take another run at that golem, or are we just going to go to the reserve room? Because if we're taking another run at the golem, we need adamantine.
I think we should leave the golem alone for now.
Until that door opens and a golem comes rushing out of it, I'm pretty happy to leave it
I
closed.
agree in entirety. I just wanted to confirm that we are not doing.
It's also worth noting that a standard grade adamantine weapon, it costs 1,400 gold.
Oh, we're right
Or
on the
rather-
cusp of that.
140 gold per bulk.
Pull ourselves up by our bootstraps. We'll get right there.
Crazy. And for the record,
Yeah.
Golem is an Incredible Hulk villain, but so is Wolverine. So I guess it flies.
There you go.
Yep. No. Yeah. We're getting into the weeds a little.
Incredible
here,
Hulk
fellas.
181 and 182 listeners. Okay, Duncan, I'm going to need you to cut that in case I'm wrong, but I'm pretty sure he had a cameo in 181 and his full appearance in
I'm gonna look
182.
it up, and if you're wrong, I'm gonna put in a correction. I'm gonna be like, oh, with like a big air horn, like, burr, 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 burr. Oh, by the way, James was super wrong about that.
Nerd correction.
Nerdage.
All right, you head back.
Yeah, the same way down the secret stairs, following the Otari slime trail.
By now, you are all full health. I mean, but for the record, you've seldom passed by that hallway since your first foray. But that green glow is in that room again.
The bathroom?
The room where the slime trail started, where the supposed
Where the love
ghost
seat
of
is.
Otari.
Oh, where the love seat is.
Where the love seat is, yeah. The love seat with the supposed ghost of Otari. Because you had originally activated it or went in that room, and you followed it along, and it went through a door, but you did not pass through the door to the library originally. So you lost the trail.
Oh, interesting. Let's go check it out.
But just like the floor above, it reset after a day.
We head back to the love seat.
3 deep on the love seat.
And just like above, it repeats its pattern. The green light forms a message on the wall, and it reads, Balcora fell to the Rose Guard. But we never knew of these vaults below. And it follows the same pattern, heading north through to where you fought that Mistwalker, heading east through the narrow hallway, going up the stairs, but then turning around to the north and then back through to the library. And then it continues north and around the corner and straight through a restricted door.
All right, so we know what's behind the door. We know there's a bunch of people rummaging around in there.
Augurio hears you come back. It's all been quiet. Welcome back.
Thank you, Augrael. Unfortunately, we found you no more decomposing corpses, but we're sure to make more soon.
That's fine. As he just rips off a chunk from a piece of flesh in his hand.
Well, at least you're chewing your food, buddy.
All right, should we stack the door and enter?
So we do our usual door stuff.
Yep, still lots of noise happening in the room. Get yourself set up in the according order. And you crack the door.
Well, to get it on the books, I am taking the defend action.
Mm-hmm.
Avoiding notice.
Chad is avoiding notice. Physic is not. He kind of just got this light in his head saying, let's take the scout action.
All right. Perception, crack.
Rows of bookshelves run the length of this room, and it is a big room. Bigger than you've seen so far. Although in many places, these bookshelves have been damaged or tipped over. The books that once sat on the ruined shelves appear to have been relocated to other shelves. Several doors lead out from this room, but the double door to the north is the most impressive. It's made of stone, carved with a strange feminine shape rising from the ghost-laced mists of a cemetery of emptied graves. A single cultist and 4 ghouls are busy at work on repairs to broken shelves. They turn to you as you open the door and take a defensive posture. And the cultist straight ahead of you addresses you.
Ah, surface dwellers. How interesting. Do you perhaps seek an audience with High Priestess Nakazarin? I can arrange such a thing in peace, if you wish.
And that's what we're going to call it.
Ooh, shit.
Stemming the Tide is an actual play podcast of the Adventure Path Abomination Vaults and is produced by the Uncharted North Network. Stemming the Tide uses trademarks and/or copyrights owned by Paizo Inc., used under Paizo's community use policy. We are expressly prohibited from charging you to use or access this content. Stemming the Tide is not published, endorsed, or specifically approved by Paizo. For more information about Paizo Inc. and Paizo products, visit paizo.com. Music is composed by Will Savino and artwork by Greyhood. Stemming the Tide is recorded remotely using Foundry Virtual Tabletop. If you wish to connect with us or support this project and projects to come, we can be found at unchartednorth.ca, patreon.com/unchartednorth, and on all major social media platforms. Links to all credits can be found in the episode description and our website. Thanks for tuning in.